Aloha, y'all. So this week, reading chapters 3 and 8. One of the first things that stood out to me was actually the first principle. Use language that everyone can understand. Excuse me. And the reason why this stood out is because in my job, I work with international partners and allies daily. It's what I do. And most of the other stuff, it comes natural, or you learn about it, or it just seems obvious. But one of the things that's really difficult in daily engagements with these partners is exactly that, and not so much even English. Even when I'm working with Australia or New Zealand or some of the other English-speaking countries, is in the Army, and even more so in the organization that I'm in, such a high-level command, you can speak a completely separate language in purely acronyms. And daily in the office, we speak acronyms nonstop. People come into the office and they ask for acronym cheat sheets because it's like you're speaking a completely separate language. So working some of the other pieces into what everyone can understand and breaking portions of it down and the language barrier, but working through the acronyms and not automatically saying them takes some work. So I can definitely understand that piece of understanding the language that everyone can understand. Something else that stood out to me in chapter 8 was talking about crisis and the reaction to crisis. I think this stood out so much because I don't really have, I think as I said in my intro, I don't have any kind of marketing or PR background, really not even communications or social media. So I'm learning a lot. But for the PR, I guess it makes sense about how quickly the crisis can go from what we call in the Army flash to bang. And so it happens, and then with social media, the word travels fast. And I think the statistic was that 69% of corporate crisis can spread internationally in 24 hours. So it makes sense, but when you read it, that's pretty powerful. So just the same, the speed of which you must react is even more important, but even more significant because you have to reach a greater audience. And if the time of which you react is extremely important, but I think it said 14 days. If you wait 14 days for a meaningful response, there's a good chance for irreparable damage. And that's pretty significant. I guess 2 weeks is a long time to sit on something, but it just really drives home the point that the word will travel fast, particularly with social media, and the reaction time is just as important. So it was a good week of reading. Look forward to next week.